Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus, and with us today, I am super excited. We have Mary Burke, and I've been following Mary for a couple of years now, and I love Mary. Mary has so much to offer, so I can't wait to get into this conversation. So Mary, welcome. How are you?
I'm great, Tina, and thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, this is so great. If you could just maybe introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background about yourself, that would be amazing.
I would love to. And the thing that comes to my mind when people ask that is I go back to when I was a little girl and I wanted to be a business person just like my dad. And he was my role model. He was the person everything he said meant so much to me. And so I was very focused from a very early age on that career path. And I studied finance in undergraduate. I went to Harvard Business School. I mean, there was really no question in my mind about what I was going to do. And I worked hard to excel at everything. And I think that meant being a perfectionist. And after I graduated and I got out into the real world, that was more and more difficult because you can't be great at everything. And in school, you focus on your grades and athletics. And in the real world, you have a lot less control over it. And I think as I got criticism, I took it much more personally. And that impacted how those next few years, actually decades, went. And it really was my experience of running for governor of Wisconsin when just in 2014 that really got me out of my comfort zone and made me realize that I could be a leader and what that looked like, because I had been starting to play small, trying to be really good at things that didn't come that easy to me, rather than recognizing what my true strengths were and being able to build on those.
Yeah, so I can imagine that running for the governor of Wisconsin probably brought a ton of times when you had to really take a look at that perfection and kind of internal, how you were showing up and stuff like that. What was the toughest part about that?
Every day, Tina, I have to say, especially those first few months, I was brought up to work hard, don't ask for help, be independent, and definitely do not toot your own horn.
Right.
And yet that's what I did every single day for 13 months was ask for help and toot my own horn. And I think as women, more women than men, were brought up to play more of a support role. How are you helping others? How are you focusing on those in need? And putting myself out there was really, really uncomfortable. I was a business person. I am a business person. I'm not a politician. And so the fact that I found myself in this big time race was almost as surprising to me as it was to me. I was out there representing others, and that other people were around and there to support me in whatever I was doing. And so when I stumbled, when I had a setback, I felt that support more so than I ever had at any point in my life.
Yeah, it's so important to surround yourself with people who are going to support you and lift you up and rise you up. It makes such a big difference. How have you seen leadership evolve, Mary, over time?
I think there's been big changes in the last few decades, although I still think that there's core concepts about what people look to in their leaders. And there is no one prescription. I think that's what I had to learn, was there is not one type of leader. And I think a lot of times we make the mistake of thinking, oh, if you're not this type, if you're not an extrovert, if you're not the type of, then you're not a leader. And the Gallup organization did research with tens of thousands of people to identify the 4 characteristics that people want in their leaders, that make people look to others to follow them. And the first is trust. You have to be able to know that that person, you can trust them because they're representing you. They're also, they are in many cases leading in a direction. So you have to trust that they're leading you in the right place. The second is compassion. People have to know that you care about them and the choices that they make, the challenges that they face in their everyday lives. The third is hope. That people want to know that they can believe that in you there is hope for, again, those challenges that they face and what they aspire to do in their lives. And the fourth is stability. You know, that rocky ship of just like here and there. No, people want some stability in their leaders because they have enough instability in their own lives that they really look to others to do that. But those are the 4 characteristics that stood out more than anything about gender or about being an extrovert or an introvert or having a certain level of intelligence. Those were really the 4 things. I think that what has changed is you see a greater sense or want in the people coming up that are in their 20s and 30s, where they look to leaders as to how they're supporting them to be their best selves every day. So less of a boss, more of a coach. And so while things have changed, I think the four fundamental core beliefs around what makes great leaders and what makes people want to follow other people have remained largely the same.
Yeah, I love the less of a boss and more of a coach. That really, really resonates, right? So if I'm a leader and I'm watching this today, and maybe I've kind of come up through the ranks in this old school leadership where it's fix and tell and do. And now I understand that, which is the boss mentality, right? Now I understand that I have to be more of a coach to my team. How do I even start that process? Like, where does that process even start?
It was a difficult journey for me because I was a doer. I was a perfectionist, and I think I put a lot of pressure, not intentionally, on others, which didn't always come across as having that type of compassion and even sometimes the stability. And so what I've recognized is the best way for me to do it, and everyone's different. Don't believe that there's one prescription out there, is a monthly sitting down with each one of my staff individually and asking them basically 5 questions. What accomplishments are they most proud of? What do they need to do a better job? What is standing in their way? These were 5 questions I actually got off of an article on the internet. So it made sense to me. It gives me a framework in how I can listen. It gives me a framework on targeted questions that get at how they feel about their job, how they feel about the support that they're getting and the environment that they're getting. I also think overall you need to have a clear vision and you need to have goals, and not the micromanagement type goals, but the goals that say, what are we focused on? How can I know that what I'm doing is contributing to overall how the organization is doing?
Yeah, I love that. I love just the intentional, like we're going to intentionally every single month sit down and have this conversation. How has that changed the dynamics of the team? How has that made the team maybe more motivated or do they, getting better results? Like, how has that changed your team?
We've just started this in the last couple of months, and it has been amazing how positive it has been and how helpful it's been to me. I didn't always take that time to listen and to give that space. And annual performance reviews are not that, they have a place, but they're really not helpful in that regards. And if you're going to wait a year, believe me, if there's issues, it will generally be too late.
Right.
And so the timing, I think, and the casualness, people know ahead of time, these are the 5 questions, be prepared, and I'm here to listen, is the best way. Really, if you can ask questions and listen in a thoughtful manner, leadership can be pretty easy.
Yeah, definitely. It's when we feel like we have to take it on all of ourselves, and when we feel like we're alone and we're not reaching out for that support, that it starts to feel really, really heavy. Yeah. So, which brings me to community, which brings me to building brave. So talk to us a little bit about building brave. I love how it's right behind you. I love this concept. I love what you're doing with this. Talk to everyone who's listening about what building brave is and kind of what the inspiration behind it was.
I'd love to, Tina. So Building Brave has been my passion, my life for the last 3 years. And we are an organization, a nonprofit, and our focus, our mission is to connect, inspire, and empower women to live their best lives every single day, to believe in themselves and the potential that they have. And we didn't want to duplicate what was already out there. I am a firm believer in collaboration, and there is a lot of good work being done out there, a lot of great organizations. So the role that we play is as a mobile app. So what we heard from women, we did a survey of over 500 professional women, and what we heard is that they're busy. And I think the statistic is that 92% of working mothers feel overwhelmed.
Right.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
And so we can talk about reading books, going to conferences, doing webinars, things like that. They're great. Those are really all great. The fact, though, is they don't fit into most people's lives, and they're not necessarily available at the point at which they're facing the challenges that sometimes get us down, the things that stand in the way of being our best selves, of living those best lives. So we're a mobile app. It's the touch of your fingertips. And what we are is a mobile mentoring platform. So we see that we complement traditional mentoring, that one-on-one in person. We have mentoring teams. So we have women, amazing women, who are volunteering their time to be able to answer the questions that the members of our community have. And so users get on, they download the app, they simply sign free of charge. They get on, and they can either see the questions other members are asking and the advice that the mentors are giving. And that's frankly how about 90% of the women interact on the platform, is they learn a lot from what others are asking, or ask questions that are most important, the challenges that you're facing. And there will be mentors who jump in. It's not live. It could be that evening. It could be the next day or the weekend, and multiple voices. So the one downside of mentoring is, one, it's really hard to just go out and find a mentor. Second of all, one person does not bring the perspective, the multiple perspectives that are really important and probably best able to meet the needs and fit into the situation that one particular individual is at. So having those multiple voices is pretty valuable. Yeah. And so we get questions about just, one was, how do I overcome the fear that is involved in starting my own business? You have questions about, what do I do with a difficult boss? And should I leave and go to another firm? And so you'll have multiple people coming in and sharing that advice. So that's what we are. We are a trusted place to turn for advice and guidance at any point.
Yeah. I love that, because it's about community, right? So often as a professional female, I, sat in my position in corporate, and I felt so alone. I felt like the things that I was going through were like I was the only one going through them, and you don't want to talk about it. And so you really, really start feeling alone and overwhelmed. And what I found about your Building Brave app is that it's a really great place for community to come together, like you said, in a safe space and just talk about stuff, like talk about how I interview better and, talk about how you handle specific situations. That community piece, why is that so important? What in today's environment, why is that so important?
Well, there's obviously a lot of community around social media, but what we heard from women is that trusted advice and guidance from those who have already been there or experts is something that is really very, very difficult to access. And so while there's lots of ways that we can connect, they're not always the most valuable or trusted. And so each one of the women that we vet, that we reach out to, that serve as our mentors, are ones who have been vetted. They are volunteering their valuable time to share this advice. And so that sense of community, it's not only getting the advice and the guidance, it's always knowing that you're not alone. That challenge you're facing, yes, it's difficult. But you're not the only one who has gone through that. And I think that means a lot to people. And even when I talk about my experience of stepping way out of my comfort zone and the fear that I felt when I first ran for governor, what I hear from women is how much they can relate to that. And so while my circumstances or the challenge I face might be different, we can relate to a lot of the same things about the mindsets that we need, but also the guidance to actually how to handle a particular situation.
Yeah, super powerful. Very, very powerful. So you mentioned mindset. When we talk about leadership and we talk about self-leadership, talk to us about what self-leadership means and why it's so important to like that whole mindset piece and why that's so important in today's environment.
There are a lot of influences out there that tell us who we should be. And whether it's ads, whether it's other people's Facebook posts that tell us what the perfect life should be, and we start judging ourselves according to those standards. What I recognized in running for governor was I have to have my own values, and I have to go back to those to be able to judge myself. There was an enormous amount of criticism. The stuff that people put out there, some of it just outright lies, is really nasty. And it was a really good learning experience. I mean, the only regret I have is that I lost, but I gained so much. And I think to your question, Tina, one of the most important things was knowing that I have almost no control over what other people say or they do or what they share, but I have 100% control over how I'm going to let it affect me, how I'm going to react. And so that's to me, the most valuable mindset is being able to still listen, to get input, but then be able to understand and react the way that that respects your own values. Not let anyone else say who you should be or how you should act.
Yeah. So what were some of those tools that you use? Because that's difficult, right? Like I admire you so much because when people are like in your face and they're being mean and nasty and negative and toxic, like that's really, really hard. That's tough stuff. So what are some of the tools that you use? Because I know you felt it. We all feel it, right? Yeah. So what are the tools that you use to overcome that, to get yourself back to center?
The first is you just have to pause. You have to react. You realize that our reactions are basically just emotional triggers that have been conditioned into us, and they're not the best. At least for me, it's not the best way. So just pausing, and it might be a pause for 10 seconds. It might be a pause for a minute, and you have to figure out a way to do that. And so there was I will be honest with you, Tina, there was a lot of coaching that I got. I mean, media coaching, how to do interviews, and you learn not to take the bait. And every day I said, I just prepared myself, and I said, you know what, if I let it get to me, I'm letting them win, and I'm not going to do that. Now, not everyone's life, campaigns are not normal life, luckily. That's not how we have to go through our lives every single day feeling like you have to be on guard. But I do think that some of the same things about learning just to pause, and it's okay to say to folks, I'm going to have to think about that, or it might be, I hear what you're saying. I'm going to need to take a little time to think about that. And so I think that that's probably the best tool. And the more you use it, and I still work on it, but the more you use it, it does actually become a habit, and you realize I don't need to react. And it was and continues to be difficult for me because I do tend to feel quite comfortable and confident in giving answers and reacting fairly quickly. And so it is a muscle that I've had to build up.
Right. And I think that's where I was going, right? So anybody watching this, and listening to you and going, oh my gosh, how did she ever do that? You haven't always had that, right? Like you had to learn it and you had to grow through it and all of that. So I just wanted to make sure that kind of came out. So the name of this series, Mary, is Your Leadership Legacy. And and what I really wanted to open up the conversation is about leaving a leadership legacy. So what does that mean to you?
For me, a lot of it is building brave. This is my passion. I feel how I can contribute and give back. I was brought up by both of my parents to believe that the more you have, the more you should give. And so when I think about a legacy, it's about giving. But in essence, once I'm no longer here, if that's what a legacy is about, what you leave behind, I just hope I leave behind a little better world, and that maybe I bring, with Building Brave, a tool that people can go to and turn to anytime they face a challenge, anytime they're starting to feel a little smaller and like they're not capable or not confident of what's in front of them, that they have a place to turn. I also just hope we get stories every single day from women who just say, wow, that helped me so much. I now feel prepared to go and do this. So I don't think a lot about the world after I'm no longer here, because I'm just one tiny little speck. I actually, am not, whether I'm here or not here. We have to realize that I don't know if we're really capable of changing the world. I do want to feel that I've made things a little bit better for others, right, as others have for me.
Absolutely. Well, one of the whole reasons I asked you on this show, right, is because I believe that what you're doing with Building Brave is leaving this massive legacy.
Yeah.
Because the number of women that are interacting in this community, and it will only grow. But the more people that we can get really kind of thinking in this new mindset and really understanding self-leadership and all of that, that's what's going to transform the world. I truly believe that. So yeah, so your part in Building Brave is amazing in that. So if I'm a leader, Mary, and I'm watching this and I'm going, okay, I get what you guys are saying. I don't even know where to start. So if I know that I'm a leader today, or if I'm aspiring to be a leader, but I know that I have skills that I need to build, where do I even start to figure out what that means to me moving forward?
There are so many resources out there, and I think the people watching this have already taken advantage of those resources. I would continue to reach out to others. That was probably the biggest challenge I faced. And first of all, I think you do have to say, I do want to be a leader. And in many cases, there's a stigma that women face that leadership can be something where you look selfish or bossy or whatever. You have to get over that. Be a leader in your own way. It can be quiet leadership. It can be do it in a way that is comfortable for you. So don't try to make leadership and what it looks like for one person the leadership that's right for you. So I think that's important going going into it. But you do have to get out, because leadership means not doing things all yourself. It means understanding how to connect with others to make them better. And that is a different skill set. So talk to people who are in leadership, ask them, come obviously into the Building Brave community. We have amazing mentor teams with women who are leaders in all different types of field. Ask for help. Also, get involved. And maybe it's volunteering in a nonprofit, on a committee, putting on an event. Test those leadership skills and understand it's a muscle, and do it in smaller ways. Don't feel it's like this one big leap, and that's what you have to do. That's actually not how leaders are built. I'm reading a book by Doris Kearns Goodwin about leadership, and it takes 4 presidents and looks at how they developed throughout their lives to build their leadership capacities. And so I would say those are the things that are most important.
Yeah. So and it's funny that you say a book. My next question to you was, okay, what's the best book you're reading right now this year? Like, what book should a leader read if they really want to start focusing in on becoming a better leader?
Oh, I love reading books, but I will say most of the books that I read, Tina, are ones that help me in the mindset that I have. And so they're not actually specific to leaders. And in some ways, it's about how I can, in some ways, let go of some of the things and patterns of behavior that hold me back from perhaps becoming an even better leader. Right. And so that perfectionism, that doer, that goal-oriented, those can stand, they're great assets. I'm not saying I don't utilize those skills in many ways to help my leadership, but also you have to know how to dial them down. Yeah. And so the books that I read, I do think are more particular for me. I do love the Doris Kearns Goodwin book on leadership and seeing how some of our great presidents are. But I think that people should connect with the books that best reflect what they feel they need to overcome or work on or be inspired about for leadership.
Yeah, I love that, because leadership, whether you have a title or not, leadership is leadership. We lead ourselves, right? We lead our families, we lead our communities. We may or may not have a title in business. And that, again, that's kind of really the conversation that I wanted to bring out, is really determining how you become your best self leader. And then once you kind of have that down, now going into those other leadership aspects, because when you're a really good leader of yourself, now you can be a great leader of others as well, right?
That's so true. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So Mary, how we are like already at 30 minutes. I don't know how that happened, but how can people get a hold of you, in touch with you?
The best way is to go to our website, buildingbrave.org, download our app. It's both in the Apple Store and Google Play. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram. You can also reach out to me personally. I check my own emails. I answer all my own emails. It's mary.burke@buildingbrave.org. I'd love to hear from you.
That's amazing. You are, Mary, I want to thank you for being on. You are like in the top 3 of when I knew to start reaching out for people, just because I so admire what you're doing in the community. I think you're a powerhouse. You stand for women, which is amazing. And I just really, really am in gratitude of everything that you're doing in the community. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for me.
Tina, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure.
All right, you guys, that wraps us up for this episode. Come back tomorrow. We have another amazing speaker tomorrow. So we'll see everyone later. Thank you.
My name is Tina Paulus-Krauss, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueyouteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.